I drove us to the outskirts of town, and he had me park on the shoulder across the street from a gravel cul-de-sac rimmed with Boise Cascade homes stamped from the same blueprint. A blue one, a brown one, a yellow one. Windows all dark, people out living. He shushed me when I started to speak, and we sat there for 20 minutes. Then Dad rubbed his hands on his jeans like he was trying to get feeling back in his fingers. He said, "I want you to promise you'll never tell anyone about this," he said. "You've got to listen to everything. Listen, listen, listen. Ask yourself what every sound is." He said, "We run at the first sign of trouble. There's plenty of time if you don't wait for things to get worse." We walked down the lane, swishing through ditch weeds to avoid the noisy gravel, and came to a small house with a big fence toward the only neighbor. No dog barked. We circled behind and watched the back door. He said, "Usually the back door is best. Bet you $100 that back door is open, and if it's not, the next 25 will be." He said, "When you get in, stand absolutely still for 20 or 30 seconds. Listen." We were going in there. I never had a doubt. I was high on it. The man in the tan suit kept thanking us. I watched Dad's eyes in the mirror and wondered what we were doing. The money radiated through the car. "A lot of people wouldn't just help a stranger like this," the man said. "Not like they used to." "Don't give it another thought," Dad said. "We'd have to work for days to fill an envelope like that." "For all you know, I could be a dangerous man. On the lam." "You don't seem to be the type," Dad said, eyes in the mirror. "Some kind of scumbag," the man said. The color climbed on Dad's neck. Inside that first house, Dad motioned for me to stand still in the kitchen. We walked to drawers and opened them slowly. In one, he found a checkbook, which he lifted and pointed to, nodding and smiling. He put it back. He walked into the living room, looking back at me every so often, lifting objects and replacing them, opening doors, nudging things on the tables, showing me how silently he could move through absent lives. He put everything back that time. He'd never steal anything that close to home. Except, as we left, he picked up a cookie jar from the counter and tucked it under his arm. It was a ceramic French pig. You took off its beret to get at the cookies. We ate some in the car on the way back home. Store-bought. Dad put the pig in the center of the kitchen table, and we ate all the cookies in 2 days. That jar just sat there for 3 months, though it never held another cookie. It was where we kept the money. We'd take off in the Pontiac for a week to the podunk Mormon towns around Salt Lake. Come back with checkbooks and new clothes and rolls of cash. We'd head to Helena and come back with a trunk load of shotguns to pawn. The cookie jar was always full. Dad would buy us beer and we'd get drunk. He'd coach me on the finer points. We played cards and ate steak 4 times a week. I never got up in the morning and never worried about getting back to bed. I never had a moral qualm, I'm sorry to say. It was too much damn fun. Too much adrenaline and freedom. Me and my dad, money and the pig, nowhere to be. We were sitting on the couch after dusting off a 12-pack one night when he told me my hairline was receding. I reached up to feel it. "No," I said. "Yes, sir," he said. "It's starting." Dad had a widow's peak, an isthmus of hair with deep recessions at the temples. I began checking my forehead carefully in the mirror, and some days I thought he was right, and some days wrong. I liked the thought at first, the idea that there might be some physical evidence connecting us. Then it started seeming like the start of something unstoppable. At some point, Dad went to the pig and found $6. He crashed into my bedroom and started shoving things around on my dresser. "What happened to all the money?" he said. I was in bed, waking up. He opened drawers, clawed through my clothes. "You took some out," he said. "Knock it off," I said. "There's no money in there. I might have a few bucks in my pants pocket, but that's it." He picked up my pants and pulled out 3 crumpled ones. His eyes slid around in his twitchy face. "Dad, come on." He left for the rest of the day. That night, he sat next to me on the couch and slapped me on the knee a couple times. He said we'd take off for Boise in the morning to fill up the pig. "Hey, kiddo, I'm sorry about that earlier. I was just surprised is all. I kept looking at the TV. Come on, Zach. You know I love you. The next day we met the man in the tan suit and gave him a ride and learned all about his failed first life and his happy second life and how he planned to make things right and how he hoped his daughter could forgive him. She was 19. Someone had cut out her wedding announcement and mailed it to him. When he saw it, he tracked her down and called her, bought her a plane ticket. I left them in my dark days, he said. I left them all alone. I'm afraid she'll never forgive me. We were driving on the freeway to Boise, windows down, the sweet, dusty odor of hay on the rushing air. We turned off at Mountain Home. Dad told the man he had to swing by a friend's place, and then he drove deep into the desert, following county roads until they turned to gravel. He found a place beside a stand of trees. Got to see a man about a horse, he said, and then he yawned big, stretched his arms wide, and while the man looked outside, unafraid, Dad dropped his right arm, looked at me in the back seat like he was sending a message, and pointed at the bag sitting on the floor beside me. I thought it was a big mistake, but I had no language for that. I reached into the bag. Dad said, look for cash, things that are small and valuable, jewelry, some kinds of knives, binoculars. He said, don't poop where you eat. My rule is nothing closer than 100 miles from home. He said, sometimes I think this is a mistake, what we're doing. He said, now you try it. He said, just squeeze. He said, sometimes I think this is the best life ever. I think of those people sound asleep right now, alarm clocks and ties, and I think if you can just keep this going, it's the luckiest thing ever. He said, if your mother could see this, God rest her, I'd catch hell. He said, you know I love you, kiddo. He said, we're going to have to take that briefcase. He said, all right now, sir, hand over that case or my boy will shoot you. He said, we don't have any choice. He said, Jesus Christ, Zach, hold it like you mean it.